Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to be here. Mbugo introduced me, Andrew Lewela, Chief Evangelist for .ke at Kennick. And I'm pleased to say that public sector are not problem children in as far as online identity on .ke. So Mary has been supporting us with ICTA before she went to the ministry, and you are all a very good lot in terms of using the Kenyan domain. But let's go straight into this panel. It is dubbed Public Sector Cloud Adoption Strategies. And we have what I would say is a very capable panel. I recall early in the day, Mercy mentioned that we have heroes in the room. I believe sitting up here are a few of those heroes. And let me even call them gladiators in suits. Why? Sometimes I know, Martin and Kondiwa, they feel like they have blood on them in terms of what they go through to bring transformation to the public sector and to the citizens. Zoho, on the other side, Vir, supports the public sector, and we'll hear more from them. So let me very quickly, and I can start with you, Martin, on that end. I hope we can test the mics. In 60 seconds, what do you do as at CA, and what has been your interplay in the public sector in terms of some cloud adoption projects that you have encountered as part of your introduction? Over to you, Martin.
Hey, thanks, Andrew, and good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, apologies. I think I had the mic off initially, but it's great to see friends here, and especially on the panel here, some gladiators, as Andrew calls them. But I really am humbled to share these experiences with you. I work at the Communications Authority, the regulator for the telco industry, as well as adjacent industries. And what I basically do is serve two primary customers: the internal functions within the authority, from licensing all the way through to consumer protection, etc., 18, 19 odd departments, and also external stakeholders who benefit from the technology services that are within the sector, and especially those that are supported by the authority, for example, within the USF, in the different sectors that the USF supports.
Thank you, Martin, for that quick introduction. Let's quickly move to Bwana Kondiwa. I know the audience here, the plenary, interacts with NTSA in one form or another if they own an asset called a car. And it's one of the big data sets. Beyond the individual data, maybe that's NRB, IPRS, we have NTSA. So shed some light on what a typical day looks like in this role in 60 seconds as part of the introduction. And it's a short time. Over to you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the audience. I want to thank the CIO for this opportunity. At NTSA, we have used technology, and I think nearly each one of the people in this room who are from Kenya definitely have interacted with NTSA systems in one way or the other. And what we are currently doing is basically to make transport decisions in this country be data-driven. So what you are seeing and what we interact with at NTSA is basically our attempts at making transport decisions, especially road transport, data-driven. And that is our goal. And that means that we have to make sure that at every point of interaction, we get the footprints of what you're doing, how you're doing it, and make sure that we are efficient in supporting all the elements that come our way, and we help the country, especially ease of doing business, move forward. So that is basically what we are doing. Recently, I think there has been a significant change in how you interact with us. We use single sign-on on eCitizen. And I think when we talk about cloud adoption, that is one of the major things that we are doing. So basically, when you are signing into our platforms, you're really not interacting with the NTSA, you're interacting with eCitizen. But then when you are in, you're basically in NTSA. So that is something that I think is the basic architecture that all of us need to look at, and especially for us in government. But this is something that we can replicate, that seamless signing in on, because looking at the security reports outside there, I realize that not many of our citizens are aware of how they keep their data. So it will be good to trust this in a single entity that is a bit more secure. And I think now that we have the identity of individuals and natural persons in eCitizen, I think now the government has the opportunity to put more effort in securing your data and making sure that we know who we interact with. So I think these are some of the efforts we are making. And we can discuss more and see where we are heading, and especially in cloud adoption. There's a bit more to discuss on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Nashon, for that. Let's come to Vir. First of all, you can help us pronounce the two names so I don't get it wrong. But yes, we see you're a partner with CIO and the X5 at this event. I saw you at the booth there. For those in the room who don't know who Zoho is, this is your elevator pitch.
Thank you so much. So to start with my name, okay, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, you tried your best. Veer is still a right way of calling my name, so that's okay. Or the way I used to tell my colleagues and friends, you know Vera, right? Vera Sitika. So in Vera, add one extra E, so it's Veera, one of the ways. Right? And, because of all these things, my colleagues named me, easy to call as Kimani. So that's how I'm called at the office. So yes, you can use one of this. So Zoho, I'm sure at least, we have been meeting most of you since yesterday. Some of you have been using our product already. Just to give you the way elevator pitch, I'll put it this way. We are a technology company. We give you multiple blocks, or blocks as in Lego blocks, multiple blocks to build your digitalize your organization. So we are not going to say we will put all your data in our cloud and then run your company. No, not really. We are here to support the way any company or any entity can incorporate the digitalization. So it's not going to happen overnight. It can be step by step. It can be department by department. So we provide the solutions or applications in multiple blocks. It can be as simple as digital signatures, right? Or it can be as simple as the mail or storing your documents and so on. So that's what we provide. Of course, we provide, our core solution is CRM to manage the database. But that is not the only one. We provide another 60 different applications to digitalize the departments. So we are here to support. We have been, working with the government. Of course, doing the whenever I get a chance, I'll talk about it as well. We have been supporting the county governments and national government in some areas, and then I believe we'll be able to support the whole idea of smart government going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana Kimani. Said we can use Kim. So in terms of format, I have two quick questions I'll just ask the three gentlemen. And hopefully, because we're just under 19 minutes, we'll come to the plenary. So kindly prepare your questions, but I will tease out a few ideas in the first round. So Martin, let's start with you. Previously at Huduma, now at the regulator. In your experience, I don't like the word challenges, but what lessons would you like to share with colleagues around cloud migration? And I'll use it in quotes because it can take various forms and shape. And here I want you to think about the cloud migrations around the backdrop of legacy systems, ensuring security, compliance, and of course, as the data commissioner said, the issues of data sovereignty. So with that backdrop, how will you characterize your lessons around a typical cloud migration for a government CIO in the room? Over to you. And the same question will come to you, Wanakondiwa, and we'll get a perspective from Zoho.
Yeah, thanks, and that's fairly loaded. I think there's been some more stories along that path. But I think if I was to distill it to one thing, it would be carry your users along. I think getting the whole concept of cloud, understood in the simple format. I mean, in simple terms, is really important. And I think in my view, I mean, the way I see it, it's really about empowering users and giving them options and putting them in the driving seat and giving them the tools to self-serve, in a sense. And perhaps one thing that comes to mind most recently, where I've been at the CA is, we've in the last 8 to 10 months been moving to cloud collaboration tools. Yeah, so basically the day-to-day tasks that were done with fragmented on-prem applications are now available. Are now available anytime, anywhere for for staff. And one of the things that I constantly a refrain I keep hearing is that now we're able to do these things on our own. We can set up our own meetings. We can collaborate, set up, little groups and channels and collaborate in a more empowered way. And I think that also frees up, the support, resources within my team and allowing them to focus on more high impact, more valuable tasks. So the key lesson there has been just package this as an empowerment option for users, and they will drive the rest. I think the issue of the security landscape around sovereignty and also risks that come about from that migration. I think internally, it's also a communication. It's also a communication problem. Maybe not problem, but it's also a communication opportunity for those like in my position to actually articulate how the risk landscape looks with cloud. In fact, if anything, in my experience, it's actually risks are mitigated in many ways when you migrate to cloud. And there are tons of examples give that we've had to that validate this. So I will probably conclude that by saying, if you want to have an effective cloud migration strategy, I think you need to map out your assets. You need to know where you stand. Like for example, now on legacy, you need to understand what's in place. What do you actually use? What is it that you're probably just attached to? It's just a sentimental attachment. So I think having that honest, candid assessment of your data assets, information assets, allows you to then map out how and in what sequence you can migrate to cloud.
Thank you, Martin.
Let me have a take on this and just say that actually 2 years ago, when I was trying to look at how to optimize the applications at NTSA, I took a time and look at the laws and the regulations around ICT and especially cloud and data centers and all these infrastructure-related regulations in the country and laws. And you'll be shocked. I know somebody may have not done that, but I think as an industry, we need to do an assessment of what kind of laws do we have in this country that support, especially cloud adoption. And you'll be surprised how sometimes they contradict. If you take Data Protection Act, if you take Computer and Cybercrime Act, you take the blue is called Digital Economy Policy, and all the criminal justice systems that applies to data and data protection. You'll notice that there's a lot of items that are not speaking to each other. So for me, that was the first challenge. And then the multiplicity of orders. Sometimes I know I have my regulator here, CA. CA says this, and you have ICTA says this, and another entity also says this, and then you don't know who to follow and who not to follow now. That is the first challenge. The second challenge is sometimes when you talk about legacy systems and you are moving to the cloud, sometimes the legacy systems are papers. And you wonder whether you want to take the papers to the cloud and how you're going to take the papers. Maybe Vera here will tell us how we can take papers to the cloud. But the first thing is, how do you optimize some of these systems so that you can efficiently and effectively use cloud environment? I'll give you an example. The NDSA, at some point, we had 4 active databases for driver's license. Some were inherited from some legacy systems. So if I wanted to give you a history of your driving in the country, I will actually have to scratch through 3 different systems so that I know who you are, when you started driving. So the first step we had to make was to merge all this and come up with one single data set. So that's a longer journey than just saying, from today, we are moving to the cloud. The other thing is the optimization of the applications that you are going to move to the cloud. They have to be efficient in terms of even the queries that you're going to run there, even the workflows. Actually, to be honest, I think the biggest challenge that public sector faces is, I may say, we don't have product managers for government services. And I think that is something that needs to be introduced in government. We need to have a product manager that is a technology product manager, so that somebody can look at 360 degrees of the life cycle of a government service. No one revises them. You realize that some of the processes that some government institutions are using were designed in 1960. And you want to move them to the cloud. So you are basically moving a bureaucracy to the cloud. How efficient is that? Now, these are the challenges that government institutions face in moving to the cloud. And the other thing is just the basic infrastructure that you have. Because in the long run, government will have to serve people through all the counties in Kenya. So you need somebody in Mandera to be able to access this cloud environment. And you need them to access it securely. So at the basic level, what is the infrastructure that is used to access this cloud and these services? So there's a lot of groundwork that need to be done, both at the governance level, process level, even data level, the application level, the basic workflows, and even the procedures and processes that are used in serving the public. These are key ingredients before you talk of, I'm going to the cloud or I'm not going to the cloud. You want to allow yourself a little bit of flexibility in the on-prem before, as you optimize, before you go to the cloud. But I want to say that at NTSA, we currently have a complete hybrid and we have a clear journey. And I think it can serve as an example, because there are a few workloads that are already on the cloud, including emails, these collaboration tools. They are all on the cloud. We have one of our core applications running in the cloud, 100%, and a few other things. But the ones that we are still trying to optimize and re-engineer the processes and the systems, we still run them on-prem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll volunteer my second question and allow plenary to ask a few questions to my panelists, the gladiators. Do you have a microphone coming your way?
Sorry, thank you. My
Okay,
name is
go for
Michael
it.
Mishe. Thank you. My name is Michael Mishe. I think I'll direct this question to...
Please tell us where you're from also.
Sorry, my name is Michael Mishe from Evas Technology. We're an AI startup. So I just want to ask this question. I think it had been mentioned by one of the speakers about product managers and now the role that they are playing. I'm just wondering, would project managers be more suited for this because it's more of a life cycle project as opposed to a single product? Thank you.
Thank you. Second one, please. Let's take two. That's for you, I believe, Nason. Any other question? Good. This is a great plenary.
Thank you. And I expected that to come, or a clarification on what I really meant by a product manager and not a project manager. And to be honest, we need both. But you see, a project is temporary. A project has a beginning and end. For all the certified project managers around, I'm one of them. A project starts and a project ends with a specific output. But I'm talking about a government service that will run forever. I'm talking about a service that you will provide today, tomorrow you will provide it next year. Like, say, for example, we are registering vehicles. The first vehicle in Kenya was registered, I think, in 1927. That's the oldest record we have. And we will register vehicles until I die and my other generations will come. So what I mean by product manager, I'm looking at somebody who will take a government service and look at its life cycle and continually look at how do we improve the user experience? How do we improve the access to the service? How do we make this better serve the citizens than what we inherited? I'm looking at somebody who will look at the impact on operational efficiency. I'm looking at somebody who will look at the customer, the entire customer journey, and try to make customer be at the center of this improvement. I'm looking at somebody who will look at the regulatory elements. What is the regulatory impact? For example, we are registering vehicles, but we don't deregister them. The vehicles don't die. I'm looking at somebody who will look at how do we make vehicles die, especially the ones that have transformed into other metals. I'm looking at somebody who will look at the communication elements. How do we tell people that when you want to deregister a vehicle, this and these are the steps? How will we get this information to the citizens? So this is what I meant. And this, I'm using a vehicle as an example, but I can tell you for sure, across nearly all government services, this is a gap. This is a serious gap that needs to be addressed, because if you don't address this, you will not optimize these processes. And it translates back to lower level. You will not optimize the queries that you are going to take to the cloud, and therefore you will not go to the cloud. And if you go to the cloud, Vera here will tell you the cloud will be very expensive because you need more processor power, you need more storage. The way you structure your data will be very huge because your workflows will be complex. This is what I meant. Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope, Mbugua, we are capturing this as some of the, you mentioned, hopefully we can follow up. I think, you made a very compelling case. I know it's very public, private sector. There's clarity on that role, but how do we transition it to a key role in government? So let me throw this to you, Martin, because it was part of my second question. How does this cloud adoption, how do these cloud adoption strategies ensure we maximize the benefits to the citizens from where you sit as we design these processes, these government services in perpetuity? How will you characterize this benefit so that we also get it right from the citizen's point of view? Let's demystify this cloud journey for the citizen.
I think that probably ties in very well with Nation's very impassioned, I think, push for seriously considering the product management role, because it effectively places your user at the center, and so you build with the user in mind, empathizing with the outcomes they are looking to achieve and their aspirations. So I think perhaps that tied to the experience from the days at Huduma Kenya, where every investment strategy, especially around technology, would need to have its benefit quantified from the perspective of the citizen. So if you want to invest in virtualization, for example, can you draw a path, a path to value for the citizen? And if the answer was yes, then the investment found its way to the top of the list and was prioritized. And so I think in the same breath, for cloud to inform your prioritization also around your, for example, cloud migration, because you have, you'll find, especially with legacy systems in the picture, you have quite a landscape of applications and data assets and so on. One way to really prioritize this is by having that business case for the citizen clear as you plan your programs. And it probably also ties to that earlier point of when users feel empowered, they actually become your champions. So when they actually see the value and the citizens see the value, then you find that the momentum for the migration is actually being driven by the users, and in this case, the citizens. So like my internal customers, the staff say, why can you consider moving this other service so that it's accessible on the weekends, so I can have it on the move? Can I do a license application approval? Can we join, can we have that committee online that approves the business case for license applications? Because they've seen the benefit from having their day-to-day, their day-to-day activities, basically being empowered and deriving value from them. So
I see something really glaringly in our eyes saying time's up. But out of courtesy, I'll allow my panelists, and you can see they're top-notch, really gladiators in suits. And I hope, Harry, one of them will win the CIO of the year. Okay, apart from you, Vir. So, Vir, let's start with you. 60 seconds. I beg your pardon, Wadanji here. Just 60 seconds. Something you can leave with us, with the plenary in terms of this panel. Either call to action, or you can just say goodbye.
All right. So thank you, and then call for action and goodbye as well. I believe the way I have initially said, I'm just reiterating that cloud adoption doesn't have to be a one-time, a large activity. It can be done in blocks. It can be done in departments. It can be done in activity-wise. So don't look at cloud migration as a very tough or a task that's going to give us sleepless nights. It can be done much more smoothly as well. There are enough and more supporters, vendors like us, there to support you in that process. So I believe we should be looking positively towards how do we migrate than should we migrate. So it's not a discussion anymore. I hope so. So we should be migrating to cloud. Let's discuss how. I think we are here to support. We all work together. Thank you.
Mwanakondiwa, 60 seconds, please.
Thank you. I hope I'm audible. I would just want to mention that for a government, which we're talking about government adoption, I think our government agencies and ministries and departments, we need to understand that we have our clear mandates and responsibilities and functions that we need to deliver on. And we need to focus on our mandates and avoid building a complete ICT hub in every single government entity. And this call for strategy, a clear strategy that takes long. I know some people may think that this is something that you can wake up one morning and the following day you are in the cloud. Some strategies might take up to 10 years for you even to have the first app or first app workload on the cloud, depending on where you're coming from. So I will really urge that the first step will come up, every single entity should come up with a clear strategy on how we are going to move to the cloud and follow it through with actions and not just filling papers and saying, we have done this, we have done that, and they are just letters written from one place to the other. Thank you very much.
Martin, you have the last word. No pressure.
Well, I think I had that opportunity, Andrew, thanks. But I think without adding to this, really valuable parting shots, is just do it. Yeah, get started and learn as you go. Assuming, of course, from a public sector perspective, all protocols are observed, and the regulations and policies that inform that choice have been well understood. Starting sometimes gets you, it gets you the momentum you need, and you will be surprised. You'll tend to build momentum, and it will actually motivate you to learn more about the space and how best to then, optimize the journey as you migrate. So just do it.
Good. So as we take our photo and bow, strategy, have a strategy in place. Don't panic about lifting and shifting the entire workload. Piece by piece, service by service. And just do it.